All right, welcome to another edition of Buc What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight. You follow me, I'll follow you back. I love talking football. 'Tis the season. We're into, week 3 of the preseason. We're getting so close to when it really counts. And I've been waiting for this, holding my breath, hoping we don't have any significant injuries. And, we're almost there. So, tonight, I'm joined by my special guest, Michael Pless from Real Bucs Talk. Really good articles you've been putting out. Guys, you and Mark, if you're listening, sorry you couldn't come on. Maybe next time I can get you on the hot seat, which I plan on doing. But, Michael, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
What's up, Bug Nation? You can reach us at Real Bucs Talk. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. We just love talking with all Bucs fans, and we're just excited for the season to get going. We got some good things coming up, especially with the season just around the corner. Going to be breaking down games, players. We got roster cuts coming up, so we're excited to see who's making this team, how it's shaping up, and just ready to get started.
And last week we were working out with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this week we are working out with the Cleveland Browns. And that's a matchup that I'm really interested in seeing because of the Cleveland secondary, which I've always enjoyed watching the Cleveland secondary. I know it's a team that's been much maligned over the years for not being very competitive, but I really hope that with the coaching change that they've put themselves in a position to win some games this year. The fans deserve it. Great fan base. I know a lot of Cleveland Browns fans, and they're good people. Here we are. We're almost there. Tomorrow's the big game. So I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to ask you what are some of your takeaways from practice, from the joint practice with the Cleveland Browns this week? What do you feel like Tampa still has to look at or work on? What's the biggest thing?
I would just say overall consistency. Yeah, I'd just say overall consistency on both sides of the ball. Coach Cutter came out this past Tuesday talking about, the offense needs to, provide some more juice, in practice and just be a little bit better with practice habits for every day, and trying to build something where, good foundation and you're heading in the right direction. So, overall it was good. We made some good plays. Plays on both sides. I thought the Browns, did some good things, show us some different looks as far as their defense with 3-4. The Browns offense, they have a lot of athletic playmakers on that side of the ball. So it was a good test for both sides. And I thought overall it was a, good experience for the team.
Yeah. So, I know people are jumping out the window with the with regards to some of the injuries that we're having on the offensive line, but nothing real significant. We got Caleb Binnock back. Our what round we drafted him? The 4th round?
Fifth round.
Fifth round. Fifth round offensive lineman. Good to get him back. Hopefully he'll get some reps and get in and help this team and make an impact on this team. Did we get to see much from him in practice, or did you hear what his progress was? Are they being careful with him, being cautious and keeping him out, and then just kind of working him in a little bit?
As far as I know, he was full go. He was on the second team, so he was in at right guard. With Ali Marpet out this week, they put Evan Smith at right guard to fill in for Ali Marpet, and then they had Joe Hawley at center. And then Caleb Binnock was the backup right guard to Evan Smith. And then we had, I think it's Ben, who is at backup center. So, he was full go. Again, I think highly of the kid just because he provides that versatility. And hopefully he can show something tomorrow. And I think he's pretty much a lock to make the team, but it's going to be good to see him out there.
All right. And I know I asked you this question on Sunday. I'm gonna hit you with it again for those that that didn't watch the podcast from Sunday, the post-game podcast. Who do you see as possibly being on the bubble for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
that's
I'll
offense or defense?
start right away with I think Kenny Bell is on the bubble. I think he's a guy that needs to make plays in the game. He's been showing up, at times during practice, but he's been inconsistent, and I know he's still young. He's a rookie pretty much, but the guy's got to make plays. I think I tweeted out I think a couple days ago that it's possible they could release him and try to put him on the practice squad just to give him more time to develop and game experience during practice and things like that. But yeah, he's someone that needs to step up. Again, he might just make the team by default because the other receivers haven't really been stepping their game up either. So, to side of the ball, I think Jonathan Banks is one that's in question. He's the obvious answer. And I'll probably go Courtney Brown. I think Courtney Brown and Howard Jones are in a battle there, but I see Howard Jones winning that just because of his production and the way he's been playing. But yeah, those would be my three guys that are the most likely.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree on Howard Jones. I think Howard Jones has made plays away from the ball, and as well as with the ball in play, getting pressure on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that he will eventually get more playing time if he remains consistent. I think he'll be part of that rotation on the defensive line, and I think he will get his opportunities to make plays, and I think that he will get in there and make those plays as well. Now, remember, if we go back to pre-draft, and I think we talked about this a little bit, our biggest concern was the secondary. And I can't think of any other Buc fan or prognosticator or just analyst, anybody that didn't share that same train of thought that we were worried about the secondary. And going into OTAs, going into the draft, going into OTAs, going into minicamp, going into camp, it's basically apparent that everything's kind of shifted. And a lot of people are talking about special teams and possibly the offense being a little bit sluggish coming out of the gate. And when you look at the big picture, the secondary, you might talk about safety, which we'll jump on that a little bit later on. But in the grand scheme of things, the secondary is not the issue, as big an issue as possibly the productivity from the offense as a whole. Would you agree that's a fair assessment?
I would say that's fair. I mean, the secondary has drastically improved during the offseason, and just the way they brought in playmakers and Brent Grimes and Vernon Hargreaves, and then with the coaching upgrade with John Hoke and Brett Maxey. I've been saying it all offseason. I think the coaching is going to make this secondary just play as a unit and be better overall. Say our weakness is safety. Yeah, we're not as talented at the safety position, but I think they're going to be better just because they're going to know where to be as far as on the field, their positioning, plays. And then as far as the offense goes, yeah, I mean, they're off to a slower start, but I think that can be expected. I mean, if anyone's watching game tonight, I mean, Atlanta only has 3 points, and that's throughout the first half. So, and they're one of the most powerful offenses in the league. Offense game, you got to have rhythm on offense, and sometimes that takes time to get that rhythm going. Defense is more, reactionary. You don't have to get to a certain spot. You can react instead of, you have to go. It's all rhythm. It's basically what I'm saying.
Right. Absolutely. And I do want to follow that up by saying that the points that I'm bringing up are things that I've seen on Twitter, things that I've seen on some of the other blogs, things that I've just heard Bucs fans talking about in general. And that's kind of where I'm getting the ideas for these types of conversations. And I'm glad that, you're savvy enough to, give an example or an explanation as to why certain things are the way they are, because that it's not really going to count until we start on game 1, September 11th against the Atlanta Falcons. So right now what you're seeing, and fans, I really encourage fans to look at plays, look at players away from the ball. Look at players that are doing that are in their assignments, that are holding their blocks, that are jamming at the line, players that are checking the line and running up and making plays. These are the types of things that you need to look at as opposed to looking at the score or looking at statistics in this type of scenario with the preseason games. Very important, because if you're just watching the play where the ball is, you're missing. There's so much of the game that you're actually missing. So, kind of look at players. You may pick a player like a Quan Alexander or, just a different player that you've identified, and just watch them, not paying attention to the rest of the play. You can probably catch it on a replay, but just watch them and watch what they do. Watch how they handle things. And I think you'll gain a greater appreciation for what some of these players are capable of doing and how they'll be able to help this team win some games.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just look at the play last week. Everyone was talking about Vernon Hargrave's interceptions, but they forget to look at, what caused that interception. Noah Spence coming around the edge and putting pressure on the quarterback. I mean, that's what made the interception happen. I mean, the quarterback had to get rid of the ball quicker than he was supposed to, and Hargraves made a great play on the ball. But people see guys being his man, he's about to get a sack. But they see the interception, they're like, oh, okay, Hargraves, yeah. But it's all about what's going on, away from the ball. You're exactly right on that, and fans need to look for that. It's not about the score, because the score doesn't matter. It's preseason. We could go 4-0 and lose all our regular season games. I mean, preseason is preseason. Let's look at guys and making sure they're doing their jobs, and look away, take your eyes off the ball a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. Mm-hmm. So for me, I'm with you. Jonathan Banks is one of those guys that I feel like is on the bubble, and we've talked about this for the past couple of weeks. And does he fit this scheme? Is this his strong suit? I realize that this year is his contract. This would be his contract year this year, but I just don't know, with the depth that they have in the secondary, could he be converted to a safety? Is that possible? I mean, I know I'm just grasping at straws here, but I'm just, wondering, is that something that's in the realm of possibility?
It's definitely possible, but I think, unfortunately for Banks, I think it's just a numbers game. The Bucs have really 4 good corners they can throw out there with Brent Grimes, Altron Werner, Hargraves, and then they have Jude Albarima, who's just keeps making plays. I mean, he's coming on really strong. And then Josh Robinson, who they signed to a free agent deal this past offseason. So, unfortunately for Banks, I think it's just a numbers game, and playing well. I mean, Banks has been picking it up as far as in practice and stuff, and doing a solid job in the games. But I think it's just numbers, really, and they could move him to safety, but I think they like the safeties that they have, especially with Ryan Smith, who they just drafted, who I think is going to be a player towards the end of this year. So for Banks, and I think Banks will catch on somewhere else, and I think he'll have an impact with another team, unfortunately. Yeah,
most definitely. And one thing that I would hope that he gets on a team, if that does happen, that it fits his skill set. It shouldn't be about the money. It should be partially about a team that you could get in and make an impact and make plays. Because you see that so many times where players have a good career somewhere, and when contract time comes up and they go to another team, the scheme isn't right. So they look bad or they may. Case in point, Nnamdi Asomugha. Nnamdi Asomugha, he thrived in Oakland. He did very well. He went to the Eagles and got exposed. And those are the types of things that I'm talking about. I mean, I think the players that we've brought in, their skill sets will work well with what Mike Smith is trying to do. And I feel like, we're in a good position on defense, and we've made multiple upgrades. I can't think of any lateral moves that Tampa's made in the offseason based on what we've seen in camp so far. I know we won't really be able to know that for sure, but just based on the plays that I've seen and based on the information that I've gotten, I feel like, the general manager has really excelled this season, finding players that can come in and fill holes. And a lot of players, and you use this word a lot, players that are multifaceted, players that can play in different positions and not just stuck in one position. I mean, I haven't seen anybody on the Tampa Bay Bucs that was just brought in to be a kick returner. These are possible safeties or wide receivers or cornerbacks, something other than just that one skill position. So I think what you have here, you're seeing the foundation for a team that can continue to improve for years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jason Light, I rave about him all the time on our site, Real Bucs Talk. I mean, the guy's done an outstanding job, and I expect him to continue to do a great job. And, this offseason, he's added so much speed to this team, athleticism, versatility, smart football players. And that's what he's trying to build, a smart football team. It's all about the neck up. And we mentioned this on the podcast. He wants guys that are mentally strong, guys that can be versatile, do multiple things. Case in point, I mean, just look at Dan Vitelli, who's going to make this team. He can play special teams, fullback, tight end. So, guys like that can do, if you tell them to do this, they're going to be able to do it. That's what we want on this team, and it's going to make us better.
Yeah, I agree right there, man. And that's, that's where we've been we've been dropping the ball. And, I'm going to take a second to go all the way back to when John Gruden was coach. And if you go back to, and I'm not going to go all the way back to Super Bowl because that's too far. Let's go back to 2006 and work our way forward. And I want you to think about all the draft picks and possible and free agents that have come in to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization between that time and now, and think about players that have made an impact versus the players. And let's do this. And let's look, let's stop with Doug Martin and Levante David, because that moving forward, you saw a lot more productivity. But that span of time, you did not have, you didn't, other than the 2010, which I don't want to say it was an anomaly, but we'll just exclude 2010 and think about all the players that were brought in and how they fared with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's mind-boggling, all the misses that we saw compared to other teams.
Yeah, I would say the only
is that a fair assessment when you look from that point to Greg Schiano?
I mean, I would say, going back to 2006, I would say the only consistent player was probably Davin Joseph. Maybe for a little brief time. Donald, yeah, he wasn't even drafted. He was undrafted.
Right.
So
that we won't count him.
Yeah. I mean, as far as premium draft picks, first through third round, there wasn't many guys. 2009, yeah, we had Josh Freeman, but, he didn't pan out.
Exactly.
It's a lot of misses.
It's just crazy. It's crazy how many whiffs that Tampa had, the general manager had, the general managers plural, And I'm not going to put everything on Mark Dominic. I mean, it's well documented what I think of Mark Dominic. And, you have to include Bruce Allen in this. I mean, he's equally responsible because when you talk about the Super Bowl, that wasn't, and a lot of people get that mixed up. Bruce Allen was not the general manager when Tampa won the Super Bowl. He was not.
Right.
And I just need to make that point clear.
Yep.
Because I mean, everything that was done, I just can't see where the team benefited from a lot of this. Then you have Gerald McCoy coming in, and we'll move forward. You have Gerald McCoy. And after Gerald McCoy, we had I'm trying to think.
Well, the next draft was Adrian Claiborne.
Yeah, and
there's no one left from 2010.
Yeah, it's no bueno. So you get my point. There's just hasn't been that foundation. There's just has not been that foundation for the Buccaneers to build off of to have a competitive team, and that's huge. That's huge. So what Jason Light was the ideal move to bring him in the general manager. And I understand with some of the free agents that we've had come and go, and I can't put all that on him. I know he makes the final decision, but we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I'm going to give him a pass, and just based on what he's done with the draft, with Charles Sims, a guy that, let me remind you that a lot of Bucs fans were pissed that Charles Sims was even drafted because we had Doug Martin. And just for him to have that vision to say, hey, we're going to bring this guy in. And I know he got injured, but then after that, he's been productive. So there's that. And we're going to get back to talking about the Cleveland Browns and the Bucs, but I just wanted to just kind of paint the scenario here where we really haven't had that foundation up until recently. And I know the record doesn't reflect it, but you see the talent that we have. And I've always believed that a good coach is vital based on the amount of talent you have. And if you can play players to their strengths, like what they did with Jameis Winston was really good. Just the way they protected him and brought him along, and being the competitor that he is, being him wanting to get better. I mean, it's it worked out great. It worked out really good. So I think that right now Tampa's in a good position to stay competitive for a while if we can keep everybody healthy and not worry about injuries. So I've gone on my little tangent here. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. I was just going to say, as far as free agency goes, the Bucs, they do their contracts a certain way, and some of the guys that Jason Light, has targeted that we weren't able to sign due to, how we structure our contracts with, little signing bonus, and we like to, it just benefits the Bucs better as far as a salary cap standpoint. So some of the guys that he's targeted, they go to different teams because the other teams offer more signing bonus. They offer more money up front, and the Bucs, we don't do contracts that way, which is why we're allowed to have salary cap room and not worry about, as far as cap trouble, aka the Saints. I mean, the Saints are in trouble. Yeah, they are in big trouble. So that out there. And then, our drafts, I mean, you look at Jason Light drafts, they all go hand in hand. The players that he picks, they fit together. There's a common theme where, Mike Evans complements ASJ. You get guys like Kevin Panfield in the 5th round, or, Charles Sims, a playmaker on offense. He fits what we need for an offense. You get a good tight end, a receiver. The drafts just make sense. And then you look at this past draft, getting, Vernon Hargraves and Noah Spence. Those are playmakers for our defense, and that's what this defense needs. So it's just those themes where it makes sense. The draft, it builds upon one another. Is basically what I'm saying. Yeah,
I mean, look at Quan Alexander, and I've already gone on record apologizing because I didn't talk about Quan Alexander at all after the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, what is that guy's name? What is his name?
Yeah.
And this was, and then once you see this guy play and you see what he can do, it really makes you appreciate the general manager who can assess talent. We have not had that for a long time. I'd go all the way back to Rich McKay. Would you?
Well,
I don't know.
Rich McKay, he did a great thing, just like Jason Light. His drafts made sense as far as what players he was targeting, as far as players fitting the scheme. Getting the right guys. I mean, Dungy wanted a running offense. You get work done in Mike Allstott. You have a great tandem right there. The drafts just made sense. And a lot of the drafts through John Gruden, Raheem Morris, Greg Schiano, some of them, the picks just didn't make sense. And that's why most of them, unfortunately, didn't work out.
Well, I'm going to tell you the one common denominator between the three coaches that you mentioned is Mark Dominic.
There you go. Yeah.
So, everybody and people that I've talked to that defend him say, well, he did good with the salary cap. And you know what? You know what I say to that? That's like a man who brags about paying his child support on time. You're supposed to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that, it's a big deal. Oh, I paid my child support on time. Oh, I fixed the salary cap. Who cares? That's what you're supposed to do. Your job is to get players in camp that work with the coach's scheme so you can win games. Winning games brings people to the stands. That creates revenue, and everybody's happy. You're happy. I'm happy. All God's children are happy. So that's how I'm looking at it,
Right.
But let's kind of move forward. We've got this game tomorrow with RG3 and the Cleveland Browns. And, I know we touched a little bit on the Cleveland Browns, but the one thing that I remember about the Cleveland Browns for the 2016 season is the fact that they had 50 million draft picks. Or not that many, but it seems like every time you went to the bathroom and came back, Cleveland was on the clock making a pick again. So what do you think about what Cleveland has done with these draft picks? Have they made the most of it, a la Dallas Cowboys back in the 90s, kind of make great moves with the draft picks? Or, I don't know. It remains to be seen. Any players that stand out to you from the Cleveland Browns that the fans could kind of take a look at?
Well, I mean, I'll start with this. I like their head coach. I think Hugh Jackson is an excellent football coach. I think that's a great start to start off with. I'm kind of iffy on their general manager, but definitely have a great coach in Hugh Jackson. So that's going to bring better results, I think. As far as the draft class goes, I mean, if anyone follows, Real Bucs Talk, I was talking up a storm about Corey Coleman, the wide receiver from Baylor. Absolutely love the kid. I was hoping the Bucs would somehow find a way to get him, but I'm pretty happy with Spence and Hargraves. But yeah, I mean, Corey Coleman, outstanding athleticism. I'm really excited to see what he does tomorrow. You look at Emmanuel Ogbah, who's their second-round pick, another guy that was targeted by the Bucs. A lot of the Bucs scouts liked him. Yeah, I mean, he's a good player as well. Then, the third-round pick, Carl Nassib, State. So yeah, I mean, as far as the draft overall, I mean, I think they picked 5 receivers. That's probably too many, I would say, because some of those guys are just not going to pan out. They do need receivers, just due to the fact Josh Gordon, his troubles, and then they have Terrell Pryor as a starting receiver, which is questionable.
I love Terrell Pryor at wide receiver. I am serious. I really love this guy, and you know what? He humbled himself. He wanted to be a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He humbled himself, and he's actually on the field. Which I keep, and I know I'm probably going to get grief from fans for saying this. Tim Tebow would not say, "Hey, I could play tight end. I love the game of football. I could get on the field. I could help a team win some games."
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't done that. He's basically been like, either I'm going to play quarterback or I'm not going to play at all. So,
right, yeah.
I don't know. I just I'm happy with him. I'm happy with what Terrell Pryor is doing. I think that's what you're supposed to do. Is if you're on a team, you can to make the team. If you can't play in your position, but they suggest you try another position, why not give it a try?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if football is your passion, that's what I would suggest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and he's going to provide a test for our secondary tomorrow just because of his size. I mean, he's 6'6", has good speed, so he'll be someone to watch as well. But I mean, as far as the overall draft class for the Browns, I thought it was good. They have some guys, Joe Schobert, outside linebacker that I like. They got Scooby Wright from Arizona, so those guys fit their 3-4 scheme to a T. I thought it was a pretty good draft. I like their guy from a couple years ago, Nate Orchard, who's an outside linebacker that can rush the passer. So it's going to be interesting to see. But overall, I thought it was a decent class. I probably would have traded some of those picks away, though. But, yeah, I mean, overall, pretty good.
All right. So other than I'm enamored with RG3. I want to see what RG3 is really going to be able to do away from the Washington Redskins and, trying to revive his career. I believe in second chances, and I hope that he makes the most out of his. I enjoyed watching him as a Redskin his rookie season. And, I was thinking, wow, this guy's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, RG3 I think will do fine, especially with Hugh Jackson. I mean, Hugh Jackson's a great quarterbacks coach. He knows how to coach him up. And offense overall is going to fit RG3 strengths. We're going to see some zone read tomorrow, some spread option. So it's going to be exciting to see that look for our defense. They're going to present us some different looks, kind of similar to the Carolina Panthers offense as far as what they run. Some pistol formations. So that will be good tests for our defense. But I think RG3 will be fine. I mean, the guy's got a cannon for an arm, really good deep ball passer.
Yeah,
fine, and he's got Joe Thomas protecting his blind side, so he's in good hands there.
Yeah, and the one thing that I liked about RG3 is that he's come in with a clean slate and he's making the most out of his opportunities. I mean, you could just turn on ESPN and see the touchdown passes that he's thrown to know that, the guy still has touch. Mm-hmm. I just hope that Ryan doesn't get him killed with all the hits that he's taken in the preseason. So, that's something that, hopefully they get an adjustment on that. Or they come up with something that will help him. I know that what Hugh Jackson is doing is using a scheme reminiscent of what he used at Baylor. And, that's kind of working for him. And that's something that Mike Shanahan was unwilling to do in the end. And you saw that with Jay Gruden was unwilling to do that as well, is set him up in a scheme that works to his strengths. They want him to be in a certain scheme, and that may not work for him. So I like the fact that they've decided, hey, we know what we can have with this guy. Let's get something in he's familiar with that he's going to be comfortable with, and let's see what we can do. So, there's that. And I just want to see what our secondary does against the guy who has a cannon for an arm that wants to take the ball down the field. I want to see Brent Grimes get tested. I want to see Altron Werner. I need to see more of Altron Werner. The fact that I haven't heard his name mentioned a lot is a good thing because I'm not seeing his jersey on ESPN where he's chasing down a receiver. So I'm really hoping that we get to see more of that, more of the linebackers tested. There are just players that, are trying to make this team that I want to see what they have, and I want to see players step up. Another thing that, and I know I'm all over the road right now, but, I'm on a roll right now. I'm on a roll, so I got to go. Just
keep going. Yeah.
The wide receivers, somebody has to step up. Somebody has to make a difference. You can't have you can't have 3 wide receivers and not be able to say, well, this guy is clearly better than the rest of them. But you got a group of wide receivers, and they're all here. Nobody's here. They're all here. And it concerns me because we saw what happened last year with Vincent Jackson. When Vincent Jackson went down, there was a problem. And it's such a steep drop-off where you have Mike Evans, Vincent Jackson, then everybody else. Mm. I mean, that's concerning to me. And I understand where the general manager and the administration went with the draft, not trying to grab a wide receiver, whereas you have, as you mentioned last week, there's a better draft class coming up in 2017. So work with what you have and, use them to their strengths, but somebody has to say, hey, I want that position. That's my position. And we just haven't seen that. And that's what bothers me is that nobody's stepping up. I mean, Die will have a splash play, but nobody's consistently going out there and doing their thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, you look at Russell Shepard from last week. I mean, he had a great game that first week, and then last week he drops a pass that was thrown right in his breadbasket. With that ball, trying to run too quick and score a touchdown. Dante Dye, same thing. First pass attempt he gets, it goes right and hits him in the helmet. You got to come down with the football. Receiver group, a lot of flack has been put on Kenny Bell, doing all the right things. And I know the coaches like him. They want him to succeed. I know Coach Cutter is a big fan of him just because he does everything they ask, but unfortunately, he's just finding plays, making plays on the field has been a struggle for him. And hopefully tomorrow he gets his chance and makes something happen because it's still open for grabs. I mean, this is going to come down to the last game next week. I think somebody's got to step up. Evan Spencer got injured, so I don't know about him. Tim Krause, yeah, he made some plays last week at the end of the game, but it's consistency. I mean, someone's got to be that guy that can, come up and be reliable. That's what you want from your receivers. You need reliability. That's one of the reasons why Adam Humphries is our slot receiver, because he's reliable. He's going to come down with the football. And again, I think another point is so many tight ends, because the tight end is going to be a big part of this offense. And a lot of people give flack for ASJ, but I mean, that guy's coming. He's been making plays every week since they named Cameron Brate the starter. So, that's another reason probably why.
You know what? And the one thing that I love about you, Michael, and I love that's why I like your work and I like what you talk about. We both had this preface at the beginning is that basically this roster is fluid. Anything can happen. And we know what kind of talent that Austin Seferian-Jenkins has. And ASJ just has to put it all together and show it on the field and stay healthy. And I think that's what we're starting to see. I love Cameron Brate. I love Cameron Brate last year when he stepped up and he was that security blanket for Jameis Winston at times. I have Dana Elmore is asking, what is the extent of Ali Marpet's injury? And basically, it's nothing serious. He's in a boot, and it's something that will be monitored. He will be ready for game 1 of the season, Dana. So that's one thing to look forward to. We know what we have with Ali. I don't know that we really need to see him getting reps in the preseason where something else could get aggravated or something. So, kind of back to what we were talking about. You're absolutely right. At running back,
this, as far as receivers, guys over, like I was saying earlier in the show, roster cut downs are coming up. So receivers from other teams are going to become available, and I'm positive Jason Light has an eye on a couple of guys, guys that just don't fit in the system, similar to a Jonathan Banks. I mean, just look at the Browns. I mean, he just got traded to the Patriots. There's some receivers on other teams that just don't fit personnel goes as far as scheme. So some talent is going to become available, and I would expect Jason Light to at least get one of those guys, maybe two, because they need somebody to step up. I mean, unless a Dante Dye or a Kenny Bell steps up here, I mean, I definitely see him adding a receiver. Now, I think Shepard's going to make the team just because of his special teams capability. I think Dye has a good chance.
I think that Russell Shepard has made a lot of game time plays this preseason where we didn't see it last preseason. We saw it in camp, but we didn't see it in the actual game where he would disappear. So I'm excited for that. I think this kid is putting it all together as well. And I hope he makes the team. I mean, he's worked very hard to get where he is.
Yeah, absolutely, and he'll make the team. Like I said, he's a special teams captain. Dante Dye, he has a lot of potential. I've been talking about him last week. He's got all the speed in the world, just consistency as far as his hands go. I mean, that's what it comes down to, being reliable. Now, if he can keep making returns like he did last week to start the game, he's got a great chance of making this team. Again, it's how many receivers are they going to keep? I think they're going to keep 6. And they'll probably put Lewis Murphy on the PUP to start the season. That's another thing.
I'm glad you brought his name up. Have we heard anything on how he's doing? How is his progress towards getting back on the field?
I mean, nothing new. I mean, he's progressing, but I think he's going to start on PUP just because he's not going to be in game shape. But yeah, I mean, definitely once you get him back after week 6, I mean, that's going to be a big boost for our offense. I think they're counting on him as well. I mean, that's probably another reason why they didn't bring in a receiver. They just signed him to a 3-year contract, I think, not too long ago. So, again, like I said, the roster is fluid. I think Jason Light is going to be looking at all options. He's always looking to better this team. That's what a good GM does. So, don't panic just yet. Let's wait till we get to week 1 and see what's going on. He's going to do what he can to make sure this team has enough weapons for Jameis Winston, which he does. And again, I've been saying it, the running backs and the tight ends are going to be a bigger part of this offense. I've been saying that all offseason. That's one of the reasons why they didn't bring in a receiver during the draft. So, let's not freak out here.
Oh, absolutely not. Like I said, I'm excited for football. I'm just excited that this team is getting where they're competitive. And the more I see Dirk Cutter as head coach, the more I love this guy. I like his demeanor. I like that the players are resonating with him, and those are things that are very important to me. He's even keel. He's not toes on the line, but he's not hanging out with you at the club. He's got that balance. He's not that quiet spoken, mysterious message and in press conferences kind of guy either. I think Dirk Cutter and his staff are what the Tampa Bay Bucs needed. I've always felt like there was talent on this team, but getting them coached up and teaching them, not just saying, here, go out and do this, but teaching them to where they understand what they have to do is vital. That's vital because when you're under fire and, it's game time and the speed of game time is crazy, and for you to be able to make decisions based on what you were taught is very important. Point. And I do not like New England, but Bill Belichick, I'll give the devil his due. The guy is a motivator. I mean, hands down. Yeah, he may cheat a little bit, but he's a motivator. He goes out there and, he gets guys in a position to do what they need to do. And that's what I've always felt like Tampa's needed. And one guy that I really feel sorry for, Gerald McCoy's been through 5,000,000 different defensive coordinators, but he still managed that level of professionalism, except for the times, and with him being hurt, I mean, that's kind of hurt his game a little bit. But at the end of the day, he's always responded to whatever scheme they put him in. Even the stunts, he was getting after the quarterback, even though it was a scheme that didn't complement his talents. You know what I'm saying? So I think that what Gerald McCoy has done and how he's progressed, and the fact that here he is with another defensive coordinator and he's still doing things and he's still remaining dominant, is a testament to Gerald McCoy and how good of a player he really is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just Bucs fans, go look at last week. I mean, you could just tell the difference right away when he's not on the field.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, pass rush was dominant week 1 against the Eagles, and then last week, it wasn't the same. I mean, Gerald McCoy is our best player on this team, and the guy's an impact player, Pro Bowler. He shouldn't face any flack. I mean, guy's outstanding character to have Gerald McCoy, and great things this year. And I
guess what gets me is fans that troll this guy. I don't understand it. Why?
Yeah.
This guy is a beast. And
yeah.
I'm not going to bring up the past, but there have been people that said the second year he was a bust. And look what he's done after his injuries. When he's healthy, I wouldn't want anybody else on my line. I don't think there's anybody that I could pick of that plays his position that I would want over him.
No. I mean, you look at last year. I mean, the guy played with a broken hand and a torn rotator cuff, and he still got 8.5 sacks. I mean, and he's creating pressure pretty much every game. Worker on the team. Yeah, I mean, any flack whatsoever from fans. I mean, fans should love the guy. He does whatever it takes for this team to win, and I really hope we can start winning with him here, and the national media will just see how great this guy is, and the national media already thinks high wonders of him. You look at all the scouts and all the coaches. He's got tons of respect around the league because they know how hard he is to game plan against. I mean, the guy is he's a one-man wrecking crew.
Yeah, he is.
And he's finally got he's finally got the help around him with Noah Spence and Ayers and Jacque Smith and Howard Jones. I mean, it's gonna be fun to watch, and I hope he can stay healthy this year and he can really show what he's capable of. And like I said, I wrote an article earlier this offseason. He's going to have a breakout season, I think, this year. I mean, the guy's determined, guy that we all know he can be, and he has been. But I think he's going to take it up to another level.
All right. Well, I like hearing that. So, tell the fans about some of your previous articles. I'd say the past 3 or 4 articles you and Mark have put together, and just tell the fans a little bit about Real Bucs Talk, because fans, please, if you get a chance, please go check out Real Bucs Talk. Great blog spot. I love the articles. I think the articles are very genuine. And one thing that I will point out, articles here, or you can look at the articles on Real Bucs Talk and go and check the rest of the other different spots that are available, and you'll see how unique the stories are. It's different perspectives, and all good stuff. Really worth your time to go check it out. Mm-hmm. So, Michael, what kind of articles are you working on within the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, like Gene said, I mean, we just try to present something different. And again, this is all from a fan's perspective. I mean, me and my partner Mark, I mean, we're diehard Bucs fans, so we just love talking Buccaneers football. But we just try to give something different. We try to give inside look as far as how this team is thinking and how how they're putting this team together and what makes sense as far as, their offense and defensive schemes and breaking new stuff down. As far as the next couple of weeks go, I mean, we're just going to keep really get into the roster a little bit as far as, who's going to be cut, potential cuts. We're going to be looking at guys who come available. So potential targets as far as for the Buccaneers, what makes sense. Then once we get to game week, week 1 against Atlanta, it's going to be breaking down, Atlanta game tape. Gene has helped us out with that as far as being able to break down tape. And we're really going to give you an inside look as far as what the Falcons are going to present as far as offense, defense, special teams. So it's really breakdown. And then season, I mean, we get into draft and free agency, and we'll have articles on the draft, throughout the season as well, just college prospects that we think makes sense for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, and folks, I think this was the best draft. I mean, I love Jameis Winston. I watched that's a very memorable draft. But actually talking to these guys and texting these guys during the draft and getting their insight, it was a lot of fun. And it's something that I look forward to next draft season is getting with these guys. Maybe I might even fly to Tampa. Out with them.
Come on down.
Yeah, just so I can hang out with these guys, because I tell you what, they know their stuff, and it makes sense. A lot of the stuff they were saying makes sense. So you guys are awesome, and I want to get your final thoughts, because we are getting close to time. I want to get your thoughts on everybody that you're going to be looking at for the Tampa Bay Bucs, players that need that little extra push to make this team or at least get noticed. And I just want to kind of get your thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, again, I'll start off with Kenny Bell. I think this is a big opportunity for him. I think he's got to come out strong and make some plays. Some under the radar guys, I would say the running back position. It's a big game for Peyton Barber, Storm Johnson, even Mike James, because he's battling against those guys. So I think that's an interesting battle. In position, ASJ, he's going to get more playing time with the starters this week. He'll be in there with Jameis Winston, so that's going to be exciting just to see that connection. Great, if he can bounce back. A little bit more under the radar guys, I would probably look at our linebacking position. That's a great battle there. You got Josh Kyes. Let's see. They let go of Casanova McKenzie this past week. Unfortunately, he couldn't stay healthy. It's going to be a great battle. I love Luke Rhodes. I already penciled him in
as the backup right there, man. And I'm right there with you. That guy has really shown some stuff, and I hope that he's one of those guys that gets to make the team.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And again, he was another guy that we were, looking at during the draft. I mean, he's just a typical Jason Light signing. He was undrafted, but he started all 4 years at William Mary. He was a captain, smart football player. Let's see. I mean, as far as other guys, Ryan Smith, I think he's another guy that just keeps getting better and better because he's learning this defense. I'm trying to think of any other guys.
His versatility, there has to be a spot for somebody like a Ryan Smith. There has to be, because of all the different things that he's able to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then I'll go back to the defensive line. I think Cliff Matthews is a guy that's been making noise. Right now, he's a backup to Gerald McCoy at the defensive tackle position. So, I mean, if he can keep playing strong, he's got a chance to make this team as the fourth defensive tackle. Just look at those positions overall. Wide receiver, tight end, linebacker, safety, defensive line. Defensive tackle most importantly.
Yeah, and there we go. Now, I have to ask you this because I really don't know how to. I really don't know how to really address the backup quarterback position. I know Mike Glennon is our starter, and do you see Mike Glennon going anywhere? I mean, basically, where we are right now, if Jameis Winston went down, Mike Glennon would be the guy that step in and try to lead this team. And are there? I mean, is that pretty much it? That second string position is locked in. Is he the guy for second string?
Yeah, I would say he's got that pretty much locked. Just because of Ryan Griffin is just not there yet. I mean, he's just not ready. He doesn't have enough game experience. Now granted, these next few games for Ryan Griffin are huge. I mean, it's going to really show. He had a really good game, I thought, last week. I thought he played much better. I mean, he had the pick six, but I thought he played better as a whole as far as his command and overall pocket presence. And I thought Glennon did some better things too. He just didn't look as rusty as he did against the Eagles. I think a lot of the Eagles' performance was due to rust. But yeah, I would say Glennon has that spot, and I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I think the Bucs really want to re-sign Mike Glennon.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you. With the emergence of Dak Prescott in Dallas, with the re-signing of Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo, there have just been some moves that have been made that I didn't think would happen based on, my comments that if Glennon left Tampa, he would get paid an ungodly amount of money somewhere. I'm going to rescind that and say that I think that you're right. I think Mike Glennon is going to end up staying here in Tampa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Bucs want to re-sign him, and I think they'll get him to a pretty good contract as far as backup quarterbacks. And as far as Ryan Griffin goes, I mean, I'm not sure. It depends on as far as the roster breakdown. Do you keep him?
Now, in his mind, do you think that Mike Glennon knows that? Do you see him as a starter? Or is he like a Josh McCown kind of career backup kind of player? I haven't seen the decision making, and I haven't seen the athleticism that you would expect to see from a starting quarterback. So I guess my question to you is: do you see him as somebody who could come in as a game manager, or do you see him as a guy that could go to a team that needs a good quarterback that would bring him in and let him start and he could actually win games?
I mean, Mike Glennon, it's all about who's around him. He's got to have good players around him, like any other quarterback, but he's not the guy that can, take over and be a playmaker like Jameis can, support. And unfortunately, we haven't seen, his best because he's been with, second and third string guys. So that kind of, inhibits his play. But he's a guy that, a team would be looking to say, hey, this guy's a good quarterback. I think he's more of a game manager, like you were saying, where if the situation is right and he has the right offense, he can win you some games. But he's not going to be the guy that wins you the game, if that makes sense. He's not going to be the guy that goes out there and he's the reason why they won. It's going to be the players around him why they're winning the games.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very important. Mm-hmm. Well, I know it's crazy. It's already been an hour that we've sitting here talked, and I'm sorry I've kind of went around a little bit, but I think it's important for the fans to understand what Tampa has done over the past decade to get to where they are right now, and how important it is that we have a general manager who is a personnel guy who can actually see players for the talents that they have and get them on the team to help us get wins. Now, this season and next season will really tell the tale. I'm of the mindset that Lovie Smith, and I'm going to go ahead and say this, Lovie Smith had a lot more say-so with the free agents. And I might be wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Based on the moves that were made this year, I don't know. But what we're seeing from Jason Light is a guy who's bringing in talent, bringing in guys who can fit into a system, and there's not a large learning curve. They're able to come in and do what they need to do. And I think that's what we're seeing from Ayers. I expect big things from Ayers this year. Brent Grimes, I expect big things from Brent Grimes this year. Just guys like that, guys who are able to help players like a Vernon Hargraves, who's, from what I keep hearing, his swagger is just, you could fill a building with it the way he's playing right now. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I feel like, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize publicly, because I didn't think that he would be a good fit for Tampa. And it was all because of the game film I watched where he got beat on a double move, and he consistently got beat on a double move, but that's all coachable. All that stuff is coachable. All that stuff is mental. Right. Point as a professional, you're like, oh, I got beat by that move. That's not going to happen again. You look at Brent Grimes. Brent Grimes, case in point. The guy goes out, he makes some plays, and he may get burned on the play, but he's going to come back later, and he's going to make an impact play. And I'm hoping that mindset is what Vernon Hargraves is learning from Brent Grimes, because this kid is amazing. He's something very special, and I can't believe that Eli Apple got picked up. Eli Apple was the guy that, the Giants went after, as opposed to trading up and trying to get a Vernon Hargraves.
I didn't even know who Apple was. So,
don't let his mom hear that. Don't let Mrs.
I didn't even scout it.
Boy, that's good for you, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't even scout Eli Apple. But yeah, I mean, let me just say this. I'll saying why the offense is, struggling like it has been, and the defense is ahead of the curve a little bit. I said this last year, and people thought I was crazy, but it's starting to show. I mean, this defense, most of the talent on this team, the ball, and that's why this year be more offensive play guys, because you need playmakers for Jameis Winston, and I think you're going to start to see that as we go forward here. He's going to bring in guys, because if you look at the team overall, from an offense and a defensive standpoint, especially in the trenches, this team is pretty much set as far as, the main guys, especially for the next 2 years, I would say, to add guys that can be playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, which we could add, especially with a Vincent Jackson getting older. But again, back to my point, the talent on this team is on the defensive side of the ball. You look at our star players, Gerald McCoy, Levante David. Offensively, yes, we have some guys that can be star players, but they're not there yet. Mike Evans, yeah, he's a really good player, but he's not. Now, not saying he won't be this year. I think he's going to have a great year. Jameis Winston is coming, but I wouldn't call Jameis Winston a great quarterback yet. Even though he had a great rookie season, he still has a ways to go.
Yeah, he's got to improve. He's got to be consistent, and that's right. The key right there. And I understand where players are. I mean, where fans are worried about the sophomore slump. I just believe that. And people try to refer back to Josh Freeman. We're talking about two different entities here, because Jameis Winston is a guy who's honing his craft. He's trying to get better. He wants to get better. He'll let you know that he's trying to get better. And his football IQ is through the roof. Now, you look at Josh Freeman, and I'm not taking anything away from his work ethic or anything like that, but he's not on even the same scale as a Jameis Winston. So, I mean, I feel comfortable saying that I believe that Jameis Winston will continue to get better. I think the mistakes will eventually get cut down. He's one of those guys who's trying to win the game, a la Brett Favre. And you know,
Another point.
any means necessary to win a game is what you're looking at with the Jameis Winston.
The best player on this offense is Doug Martin. And you look at, how our offense is being built. I wrote this a couple of days ago as well. The foundation of this offense is the running game. Just look at it last year. That was our strength, running game with Doug Martin and Charles Sims. That right there is, that's where our offense, that's the go-to guys on offense. Doug Martin is a hell of a back and built to run the football. And that's where we're going to see, this again this season. It's going to be that running game. It's going to be the foundation. And a lot of fans are saying, yeah, but you need to pass the football. It's a passing league. But I think we'll see more of that with Jameis as he continues to grow. And it'll become something to watch. But, again, we're going to be a run-first team, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's what made Jameis successful last year.
And then, another point, this defense, a lot of talent on this defense, and I think we're going to be just fine, especially with is better. And I've said it all year, a lot of communication issues last year. Just have a look out for that, fans. I think we're going to be thoroughly surprised as far as how attention to detail this team's going to be.
Yeah, most definitely. And adjustments at halftime are something that I'm really looking forward to. That's something that I'm going to really be keying in on. That and the penalties.
Right.
The level of discipline as far as penalties goes will be better than what we saw last year. I think anything moving forward last year will be an improvement.
Yep.
Well, folks, it's been an hour. Hard to believe. Michael, as usual, you've been great. You've been great with insight. Thank you, especially when talking about the Cleveland Browns, because, a lot of fans don't get a chance to see the Cleveland Browns, and they're an interesting team. I personally am hoping that they do good. I'm always happy when they're, being competitive with the other teams in their division. So I hope the best for them. Their fans deserve it. And, on the other side of that, I hope Tampa continues to improve. I hope to see the wide receivers, somebody show up and show out, please. And, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, keep doing what you're doing. And, folks, do your research. Don't listen to the local media. Go out and talk to some fans who do go to practices, season ticket holders, or go to the games yourself, just to know what's really going on with your team. Another thing, please, and I mean this, please, oh please, watch these players away from the ball. Don't just focus on who's got the ball or where the ball is. Look at these players, your right ends, your left ends, your linebackers, some of your safeties. Find a player during a play when they're setting a play up. Find a player and just watch them and watch how they do, see how they move, and see if you can get some insight from that. If you see them making plays, that's what we need to see in preseason. Totally forget about what you see with statistics. Statistics right now, throw them out the window. What you want to see is plays. Plays over statistics. That's the motto for the rest of the preseason. And, folks, thank you for checking me out. Give me some likes, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Leave me some comments. I really appreciate that, too. And I thank everybody for checking me out. And thank you for checking out Buc What You Heard. Please, Real Bucs Talk, at Real Bucs Talk. Check these guys out. They post, they tweet, they post on Facebook. Real Bucs Talk. They tweet at Real Bucs Talk on Twitter. They're worth following. You ask them a question, they'll get you an answer real quick. You can reach me at Super Heavyweight. You follow me, I'll follow you back. And, that's pretty much it for me. And that's the show. Have a good night.